Every business from time to time will be required to manage in a period of economic adversity. These times can be unsettling for our colleagues whose jobs, livelihoods or aspirations may be on the line. Thankfully for most management teams, they're only required to manage this once or twice in a 10-year period, so that lessons and experiences are easily lost from the corporate memory. This video aims to provide insights from business leaders to help you in your planning for when you need to manage such a period of change.
Seeing employees as central to developing solutions in a change situation is vital to maintaining their engagement through the process. Being open to their challenges and critique will give them ownership of the end result and facilitate their understanding of where the organisation is going and why.
So what's been a strength on some of the programmes, I would say, is actually people feel real ownership with the design. It comes out of the things they've been telling us. They can recognise the improvements, and more, as we've got more accomplished at change, I see more and more people satisfied with how we're changing what they're going to do. They can see their footprint in the changes that have been made, and I think that is incredibly important.
We've created infrastructure to make sure it happens. So we have a programme of directors' listening groups. Every single director in the business has to go out once a year. We arrange it all for them, put it in their diary and do a listening group, and we spread it out across the year. So some of it's to chance and through following example, and some of it we actually engineer it into the business. Now your vision would be one day you can remove the engineered listening groups, because actually we'll all be doing so many of them, it'll become natural behaviour. And frankly, I think we're 3 or 4 years off that. But we've come a long way in the last 3 to 4. So that's where it's a journey, and that's where having a paranoia about thinking you've done it is so important. And when we get to that point, there'll be another piece of, or another initiative we want to put in place that in its early days will require structure to make it happen. Somebody has to make a decision, say we're going to make this happen. But then success over time as it becomes part of the DNA of the business.
We did a major staff survey at probably the most traumatic phase. We had a patchy history on staff surveys in the past. We decided there was a sort of cathartic moment where we needed the organisation to talk to us about a number of areas. So that was very useful and helped us identify some clear and significant areas where we needed to improve. But you know, a survey is a survey, and it won't be enough. So we're already making some changes to the change programme. We ran a programme of, in effect, changing operational policing practices by lean systems. And that only really works if you've got the staff engaged and involved. So we made a strong point of involving staff in that programme, so that the policing model we've got rolling out is very much influenced and designed by our staff.
And the critical thing is, I think, is to be able to say, you said we did, so you can demonstrate where you've listened and adapted the model. So for example, in the case of CLG, we changed the timetable for one key part of it, and that came directly from feedback from staff to say what we were planning was too ambitious and it needed to alter.
We started doing what we call a pulse survey, so a quarterly survey of how staff are feeling, which gave them an opportunity also to make comments about the organisation, all of which I've read, and there were hundreds of those, and those have been analysed. Those have been analysed in order that we can see what other changes we may need to make to help deal with some of the concerns that staff have got at the moment.
I would still come back to the best ways of involving staff. We've been through the continuous improvement and priority-based budgeting programmes, though, where we have actually very much put the emphasis on operational staff to help identify and come up with the solutions.
As a manager, it's really important to listen to your colleagues and to get their ideas and their feedback, to then take their information to find out what they want. It just allows us to move forward, and it allows me to move forward as a manager.
I think I would do even more, I think, about trying to get behind how people are feeling. I think do even more communication and engagement and allowing people to influence and shape things along the way. I think you almost can't do enough of that, actually, in these change processes. So yes, you learn all the time about how you do things and how better to do them. And if you think you've got it cracked, then you're obviously very misguided.
The other thing we've done is we've kept listening. So 6 years ago we launched our colleague engagement survey, which we call We're All Ears. Over that period of time, our colleagues' involvement and engagement in that process has increased.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that I'm probably most proud of is the fact that we've enabled employees to share with us their concerns and actually try and listen from them as a person rather than just an employee. The number of suggestions that I've seen come out of individuals involved in the process that I wouldn't have imagined actually could have presented opportunities. You have to treat everyone as an individual in a process like this, and don't try and presume that you actually understand all the good answers. For sure you won't do.
If I was going to go into another company who were facing redundancies, providing the redundancies were in 6 months' time and not 6 days' time, and I had a chance to speak to those managers, I'd be saying to them, you need to speak to the people who build the product, the people who are on the coalface, the people who can make a difference, the people that could work a different way. If you don't communicate with these people and you just make your own decisions, you may not think it, but you may make a wrong decision. And that ultimately, that wrong decision could lead to the closure of the company, vast amounts of compulsories. But if you don't understand the people on the shop floor, that they are probably more experienced than the managers will ever be at building the job, they may want to work. They may work a different way. They may take a reduction in hours. They may take a reduction in pay. They may even give you some ideas that makes the product quicker, but with the same amount of men.
Well, we did have some really difficult times. One of our major customers actually went into liquidation around 2009, and we had to lose 90 jobs. At the same time, we had to close a final salary pension scheme. And the great measure through all of that, and we took a salary freeze as well for everybody, started with me. Through that time, when we started the survey, we asked employees about advocacy. And we had a score of 19% of our employees would advocate working for Nampak as a place to work. In 2010, when we were honoured to win the CIPD People Management Engagement Award, and overall company award of the year, we had an 80% advocacy score. So even though we've gone through some really tough, challenging times, through listening to people, involving people, and using the words engagement, we've been able to deliver those results, which has been absolutely fantastic for us and our customers.
This section has shown us that both a process-based approach as well as informal communications are crucial to giving employees a sense of voice. Trade unions and employee representatives have an important role to play, and strong collaborative relationships built on trust can be established this way. Listening to and acting on employee feedback is key to achieving full engagement in the change process. Do you have in place the right employee voice mechanisms in your organisation? Are your employees talking about the change, and are you listening?
In a time of economic adversity, the principles of engagement remain the same. Helping your teams understand the future of your business, ensuring your leaders engage through the process, listening to your employees' voice, and ensuring your actions align with your stated values. However, the stakes can be much higher. We've heard how the actions of businesses are remembered some 20 years in the future. We hope this video helps you in planning the change in your business